Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Bacon. Welcome to the show, y'all. There's a quiet in prison that ain't got nothing to do with peace. It's that kind of quiet that sits on your chest and waits for you to blink first. Some nights, it hums like a refrigerator that don't belong to nobody. Other nights, it's a blanket with needles woven in. I learned how to tell which kind of quiet I was breathing by the way my heart counted the seconds. And the night I'm about to tell you about, that quiet was hunting me. Yeah, I had a phone. If you know, you know, not the flex you think. A phone in here ain't a trophy, it's a switchblade that smiles. Mine was short, black, chipped on the corner like it tried to bite a cinder block. I kept it wrapped in plastic, tucked inside a hollowed soap dish, state issue, then slid the dish into a slit under my bunk I'd made with hot metal and stubbornness. Shake the bed all you want, it never sang. I got good at quiet. I told myself that phone was a bridge. One end here, khaki and numbers and steel breath. Other end out there, warm air, grocery store lights, radios that don't bark orders. At the far end was Tasha, different Tasha than any I ever told y'all about. Life reuses names like the state reuses mattresses, and she worked nights, nurse shoes, scrub top, a messy bun that fought gravity all shift, then surrendered at the parking lot. She texts me during her breaks, thumb quick, heart open, grammar doing its best. I text back slow, picking words like lockpicks, making sure none of them scratched. There's a trick to loving someone through a screen. Send just enough of yourself to make tomorrow worth waiting on, not so much it floods today. I used to write her about whatever I could taste without touching. The smell of mop water, the echo of shoes that count, the way the unit heat rattled like it was scared of its own job. She'd reply with small miracles from her wing, an old man breathing easier, a new mother holding steady, a co-worker who learned to fold a blanket without wrinkling hope. You can fall asleep on messages like that. You start to believe the phone is a pillow. You forget pillows can smother, just like anything else. My cellie at that time was DeAndre Carter. Dreads braided like secrets, smiled like a coupon for trouble. He called everything bro, hunger, debt, victory, lies, bro, bro, bro. To him, the word bro was duct tape. Wrap it around anything and pretend it's fixed. He had a girl somewhere downriver. Said she kept him whole. Says she kept him broke too, but that's love sometimes. After I finished my nightly good nights with Tasha, I'd hand DeAndre the phone. 10 minutes, man. No clowning. He'd nod like a choir boy and grin like Sunday night. That was my first mistake. Confusing manners for character. The night the quiet hunted me, I couldn't sleep right. Not fever sick, mind sick. That irritation that crawls under your skin like it's paying rent. Count cleared, lights drop. I texted Tasha I loved her patience, told her I was turning in. She shot back a heart, a joke about a patient who told her he'd seen angels in the IV pump and then a sleep good, baby. I slid the phone to DeAndre. You know the rules, I said. No burning my battery. No messages to numbers you don't own. He saluted like a child playing soldier. Respect. Respect in his mouth came pre-chewed. Tap, 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 pause, tap. That's the sound of a mistake learning to walk. I rolled over and pretended it didn't have my shoes on. Morning smelled like disinfectant and toast that died for nothing. Tasha's message was short. You up? I said, yeah. She wrote, you were different last night. I asked how. You asked for pictures. My throat went dry like the air stole it. Then she wrote, you called me mama. You never called me that. I don't call nobody mama unless I'm praying. DeAndre sat on the edge of his bunk tying his shoes, that leftover grin drying on his face. Your lady hit. Yeah, she good? Not like I hoped. He shrugged and scratched the forearm like truth was under there. Women be tripping when they tired. So when they get played, I said he didn't blink, didn't flinch. Just tied a double knot and walked out like he'd been born leaving. I waited. Because anger that wakes up too early calls the cops on you. After count, after chow, after I could feel my hands stop trying to jump off my wrists, I scrolled. There they were. 3 photos that weren't mine to own, lined up like a bad idea posing as a blessing. The messages I never wrote dressed up in my name. Still up, mama? Been thinking about you all night? Let me see you. For real. Don't be shy. It's me. She replied careful, as if her heart had a safety on it. You sure? No one will ever see this, right? Okay. Just this once. Shame heated the air. I could have smashed the phone. I could have smashed him. But violence is a credit card with terrible interest. So I did what I do when the ground moves. I collected the tails in his face, collected the timing, collected the battery drop I'd been ignoring all week. That battery, it kept dying like a bad excuse, even on airplane, even when I force closed everything but patience. Deep in settings behind a menu that pretended it was innocent, I found it. A background service with no name, chewing data like a dog in the trash. I tapped it open and there it was. Coordinates, timestamps, a whole diary of my nights written by a machine I didn't invite. Tracker, not a rumor, not paranoia, a cold mirror with good handwriting. I screenshotted it and sent it to Tasha. She didn't deny it, didn't apologize either. She typed, "You said you'd never lie to me again." I get scared. I need to know where you are. I wrote back, "I'm behind iron. I can't be nowhere else." She said, "Men be everywhere even when they locked." I stared at that bubble till it turned into a clock. Fear don't need proof when it finds a hobby. That night, DeAndre hummed while he rolled a cigarette in a scrap of paper the commissary never sold him. "Ever feel tracked?" I asked, voice casual like a jacket on a chair. "Only by God and the camera," he said. "Maybe your conscience too." He smiled thin. "Conscience don't live in here. Rent too high. I let 2 days pass. Routine will dry anger if you iron it long enough. Bought time with chores, folded sheets and laundry like geometry was worth parole. Taught Naomi a trick for the lint trap so the dryers didn't choke. Let him think the storm moved on. Then Friday night, I cut the quiet. "You knew about the tracker, didn't you?" He didn't bother lying. "Yeah, that's how I knew when you were knocked out." It was almost kind the way he said it, like a doctor telling you the limb ain't coming back. "You erased what she sent?" I asked. He blinked slow, half a second too much. "Course," he said. "Lies where shine in here, you learn to see it." I didn't swing, it didn't raise my voice. Just lay down and stared at the springs under his mattress until they looked like train tracks leading out a city that never loved me. Because there's punishments that keep you human and punishments that make you something else. I needed to stay human. Morning came like a bill you forgot you owed. I texted Tasha. "I know. It wasn't me. I'm sorry for the space I made for it to happen." She sent a single dot, then nothing. I factory reset the phone, killed the ghost app, then drowned the device in a cup of sink water until the bubbles stopped telling stories. When I pulled it out, it was a black brick. No more bridges, no more proof. I wrapped it back in plastic, buried it under socks like a funeral without a pastor. Anger without a job becomes your boss. So I gave it work. I cleaned until the cell smelled like possibility. I folded until corners apologized for being round. I read until the page could hear me breathing. Baldwin Proverbs, anything that didn't lie about consequence. 2 days later, they moved DeAndre. The paper said operational needs, which is how the system writes We tired of this flavor of noise. He glanced back through the wire like we were cousins at a cookout the cops just raided. I didn't nod, didn't smirk. Sometimes dignity is the only thing you can afford. A week after that, Tasha finally wrote, I know it wasn't you. I cross-checked the timestamps with the tracker. Still, I sent them. I can't unknow it. We done. I stared at the words until they softened. Then I let them harden back and kept breathing. Some endings don't slam. They click like a good lock. From there, the unit put on its usual play. Men bragging about women they don't deserve. COs pretending the clipboard is a magic wand. Phones singing in vents like trapped birds. I kept my head down. Helped Jamil with his grievance letter. Took the heat out the paragraph so the point could live. Showed Calvin Reese how to play an end game he kept losing because pride won't castle in time. I started sleeping better, not good or better. Then came the visit I didn't expect. Layla Morgan, old friend from the world with porches and dogs that know their names, and she sat, palms flat, eyes taking inventory. You look thinner, she said. I've been setting down things that don't fit, I told her. She said she'd heard noise about a phone, about pictures, about betrayal wearing my jacket. You do it? No. Did your hands do it? No. Did your name do it? I swallowed the truth and told it anyway. Yeah. She nodded like she'd been saving that answer for me. Left me a paperback, Baldwin, tattered, brave. Hold fire without burning, she said. Some gifts weigh more than the bag they came in. Back on the tier, Officer Terrence Monroe leaned in my doorway with a pen he clicked like a nervous habit. Baker, he said, you're a reasonable man. That's what people say before they ask you to be unreasonable, I told him. He smiled. Administration appreciates cooperation. Cooperation with what? Phones, contraband, people who think they're invisible. I'm retired from the invisible, I said. He tapped the bars. World's changing. Prices always change before quality does, I said. He left me the air his pen had chewed. Next day, Kendra Wallace from Education cornered me in the hallway. You're helping with the digital boundary circle, she said. That put a light on you. Good light or bad light? In here we don't have good light, she said. We got light that remembers. She slipped me a blank notebook. Write the version of you that ain't asking for applause. So I did. That night I opened to the first page and bled sentence by sentence. I wanted the phone because I wanted closeness without the bill. I wanted a voice to tell me I wasn't stuck to a cinder block forever. I wanted a mirror to nod yes when I asked, am I still in here? I wrote until the notebook felt like a witness that didn't hate me. Shakedown hit 2 mornings later. Monroe with 2 officers I didn't know yet. Random, he said, which is Latin for, you've been interesting lately. They flipped the cell like it owed them money. Found nothing but folded Baldwin and a bar of soap with no dish. Where's your case? One asked. I washed with my hands, I said, old school. He stared at my hands like he hoped they'd confess. When they left, they didn't send to the bunk. I did. Sometimes order is the only prayer you can afford. After that, the unit tried to tempt me like a carnival. A porter slid me a flip with 12% battery and a screensaver of a beach I ain't never seen. No note, no wink, just relapse dressed like opportunity. For a second, my thumb remembered where the power button lived. Then I wrapped it in a towel, carried it to Monroe. Found this near laundry, I said. He raised an eyebrow. You turned insane? Nah, I told him, I'm turning predictable. I predict trouble. He studied me like a math problem with teeth, then nodded. Good call. no reward, no threat, just a receipt stamped. Not today. Rumors still floated about DeAndre, about screenshots, about a different unit learning his grin. I didn't feed the rumor. Stories in here grow like mold and choke the same way. But one kite did make its way under my door, pencil pressed too hard. He kept them. I burned it in the Bible tray, watched the smoke crawl up the vent like a sermon looking for ears. Didn't change nothing. Made room for breathing, though. Some nights I still heard the phantom ping. No phone, no app. Just that little pulse inside my chest asking, where you at? And I'd answer the way I wish I'd answered when I was busy being clever. Right here. Present and accounted for. Then I'd lay still and let the quiet do its paperwork. I kept showing up to Kendra's little circle. 6 chairs, 3 believers, 2 skeptics, 1 man who came for the air conditioning. We talked about the lies a screen tells, how distance starts dressing up like intimacy, how emojis make apologies taste like candy, how a camera can trap a person inside your pocket and call it love. One young cat, Jamil, asked, so what do you do when you already crossed the line? I told him, move the line to a place you can live in. He frowned. That sounded like cheating. Cheating is calling pain a secret, I said. This is telling the truth where you can reach it. On a Sunday, Layla sent a postcard with a painted door, blue, cracked, beautiful anyway. Backside read, some doors you close by walking past them. I pinned it behind the vent so the air could read it too. I wrote my own little line and tucked it beside it. If you ain't ready to lose it, don't borrow it. A week later, a porter shoved an envelope through the slot. No return. Inside was a printed text message, torn at the edges like it had a past. You taught me you. I learned too well. We good. No name. But the cadence was DeAndre's, even with the vowels shaved. A petty part of me wanted to answer. A bigger part of me realized the conversation already ended. Just took its time to exit the stage. I folded the paper twice, slid it into Baldwin, let James hold it till the ink fell less loud. You want a moral? I ain't got one that pays cash. What I got is a ledger. Line 1. I smuggled a bridge into a place that punishes bridges. Line 2. I mistook proximity for trust and watched it dress up as betrayal. Line 3. I loved a woman through glass and pixels and forgot fear likes to hold the other end of the string. Line 4. I let comfort make the call while responsibility sat there listening, waiting its turn. What's left? The part of me that refuses to be counterfeit, so now nights still come cold or loud depending on who's arguing with sleep. I lie there, hands stacked on my chest like they guard in a small museum, exhibits labeled Promise Receipt Lesson. Somewhere in this museum, a little green dot blinks on a map you can't see. It don't belong to Tasha now. It belongs to the version of me that stopped needing a device to know when I'm home. And when the dot asks, where you at? I answer like inventory. Here, counting honestly, paying in full. I ain't saying I'm cured. Cured is something people say when they want applause and a discount. I'm saying I'm done for today. Done handing my name to men who use it like a master key. Done letting fear pick my ringtones. Done pretending a pillow is a bridge and a bridge is a pillow. I walk, even if I'm walking in place. At least the footsteps are mine, and that's the confession. Not a sermon, not a boast. Just a man telling you the quiet found him and he didn't run this time. I let it sit with me like a visitor who knows when to leave. When lights go out and the tear exhales, I whisper one last thing for me. for whoever needs it. Lock the door you keep walking through. Put the key somewhere you too tired to reach. If love calls, let it leave a message. And in the morning, if the message still sounds like the truth, pick it up with clean hands. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.